Welcome, everyone. You are listening to the Vibrant Family Podcast of FCBC Walnut with Pastor Terrence Shea and Katie Lee. We aim to bring our church's disciple-making vision to life by connecting church as family and family as church. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, everyone. This is probably not what you're expecting from a typical Vibrant Family podcast episode, but with Mother's Day right in front of us and two exciting family dedication cohorts to come through in the next 2 months, it is a great joy for us to be able to celebrate Mother's Day by having these three men who are both husbands and fathers on this episode to be able to share a little bit more about them, about their families, but then also to be able to answer and respond in honest and personal ways about what it means simply to be dad, simply to be husband, and then how they have to give credit, but appreciation and also encouragement to their wives through all of this, because they certainly cannot do this without them. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and just introduce these three men, and then they're going to introduce themselves. So we have here John Bagnus, we have Jonathan Lim, and we have Stanley Lowe. And starting with John Bagnus, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, about your family, and about your kids.
Yeah, thanks, PT. Hey, guys. Name's John. My wonderful wife is Helen. We've been married about 4 years now. We just recently celebrated our 4-year anniversary back in March. We have a 3-year-old daughter named Harper. Her birthday is actually this Saturday, so March 8th.
Nice.
Not 3 yet, but she's 3 in my mind. She acts like she's 3. But yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm John Lim. My best friend and love of my life is Jennifer, and we've been married for 4 years, 9 months, 13 days, 10 hours, and 12 minutes.
Wow.
And we have Bethany. She's going to turn 3 at the end of the month, and then Joshua. Bethany's turning 3 in August, and Joshua is turning 1 at the end of the month.
Hi, folks. I'm Stanley. This is Aiden, and my wife and his mother is Rebecca Way.
All right. Well, not only are you guys people that are familiar faces to many of us, but you guys are also in the same young married small group. So what a wonderful way for us to bring this all together. And so I have a few questions that I'm going to ask you guys. And with each question, we're going to have a different man take the lead in responding to kick things off. So the first question is this. What do you appreciate most about your wife as a wife and mother? So tell us about that, John Bagnus.
Yeah, sure. I think what I appreciate about Helen the most, and really beyond all the acts of service and love language, is really how she directs me to Christ, either directly through prayers and through Bible reading and through just worshiping, but also kind of in a way where indirectly leading me to Christ or pointing me to Christ. Some examples are, when during our marriage, right? Our marriage is hard work, and sometimes we have to have those difficult conversations where we have to be kind and understanding and patient, and she's all of those.
Cool. Yeah, I kind of feel a similar sentiment to what you're saying, John. In terms of, I think like Jen as a mom, she would give her entire world for her kids. But what I appreciate is that she understands that the best, even though she wants to give them the world, the best thing she can give them is Jesus. And I think living that life out, and something I've actually been really encouraged by her recently is we had kind of a rather, I guess you could say, tough situation or something that was on our hearts to make in terms of a choice of integrity. And I think I was really encouraged when I asked Jen, like, what do you want to do? And she went with the choice that she felt would honor God with her conscience. And even though it was at a loss, like an actual loss for us, and I don't think any person with a worldly mindset would have done the choice that she wanted to pursue. And I think I was really encouraged by that. And that we're kind of talking about with our kids. It's like we kind of want to teach them so many things, but I think the things that they learn the most from us are like what they pick up from us. And I think I really appreciate Jen. I feel like I could call her my best friend, in terms of kind of what I was actually telling her this during dinner today. Like when you think of the attributes of like a good friend, like someone who's honest, someone who you can feel you can be yourself with, you can have fun with. And yeah, like I feel like Jen is all of those things to me. So I'm thankful for her, to have her as my best friend and my wife.
Yeah, I think John. I think all those attributes that you just mentioned is definitely something that I think when our wives portrays those, it's so easy to just kind of fall in love again and see like, hey, this is why I did this and why I married her and yeah. So I'll pass it over to Stanley.
What I appreciate about Rebecca as a wife is that she chose me, and she continues to choose me. What I appreciate about her as a mother is similar to another reason I appreciate her as a wife, and that is that she is somebody who's very routine, somebody who tries to stay on top of things, somebody who likes to plan for the future, somebody who likes to plan for the worst case scenario, somebody. So in that case, then she has planned for the both of us and planned for Aiden's future. And I feel that that's something that I admire because, well, not feel, but I admire that because it's something that I sometimes am lacking in. And when it comes to Christ-centeredness and spiritual disciplines, I'm able to stay on top of it because I know that's the type of person she is. So, like what John was saying, that his wife sometimes is the one to be and remind him to come to Christ. So I appreciate that. Other than that, I do appreciate that she's not idle. She uses her wisdom and the material blessings to build a family.
Yeah, it's so great to hear you, man, share those things. In so many ways, we sometimes take it for granted and we don't recognize them enough. But certainly, God has made our wives just right for us, both for our shortcomings, but then also in many ways to encourage us and complement us in our strengths. So the next question I have is this: what has been a major hardship or an adjustment that you've had to make since you became parents? And I know that's such a huge milestone for so many of us that when you're looking ahead, you're like, well, that's just being a parent. But once you're looking back, you're like, that changed everything. I don't even remember what life was like before I was a parent. It's changed things so much. And so I want to be able to hear from you guys how that's been for you and what has been something that has been difficult since you became a parent. And we'll start with Stanley on this one.
I think I'd have to agree with you, Pastor Terrence, about not remembering what it was like to not have children because we had Eden quite quickly. It wasn't a shotgun wedding, but it was nice because it really, it answered our prayers. But I think one of the hardships then is remembering that Rebecca is still a woman and is still my wife before being Aiden's mother. And so those two roles have very different needs. So it's easy when, because Aiden is needy and dependent, to prioritize his needs before Rebecca's, especially because he takes so much of our time.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I've tried to make sure is that I still serve Rebecca and I still think about her first. So this kind of leads into your next question, and that's how can the church help and other people pray for us? Is to be asking Rebecca about herself and not about Aiden.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Stanley, I think you hit it right on the head. But I was going to make a joke for this question, but really, it's like sleep, not being interrupted while you're eating, being able to like travel. No, I'm just kidding. All those are definitely adjustments, but I think you hit it right on the head. Is and just remembering that your uh, uh, your first job is to really be a husband. That's your first calling.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to add to that I think the biggest adjustment for me is for us is being parents. Now we really have to schedule a time where we can talk in have a serious talk, either with our relationship, our marriage, money, um, or whatever it is, planning. Because when we do have conversations where it gets to be difficult sometimes, not doing that in front of Harper or is something that we don't want to do because we don't. I mean, quite frankly, like, we don't want Harper to see us fighting or having back and forth or an argument. Not that it's all arguments are bad, but kind of that bantering back and forth. Because when tense conversations happen, emotions can get developed. So I think that's one area of adjustment that we continue to improve on, but we had to make really fast when she was born. Especially now she's at an age where she's noticing everything. Asking questions of, "Oh, Daddy, are you sad? Are you angry? Are you happy?" So she's starting to see the differences in those emotions. So, but yeah, I think on top of what Stanley said.
Yeah. Thanks, John and Stanley, for sharing. I feel like the transition into parenthood is like one of the hardest life events, if not the hardest one. I remember 1 week after we had our first child, Bethany, I felt like something was gonna give in terms of like, I was so tired. I didn't know, like, just trying to get enough sleep and food for Jen, Bethany, and me. Like, I didn't know if it'd be like possible at that point. Like, I felt that tired. And I feel like it was a really like humbling experience. And like a lot of other parents I talked to, like one, she mentioned that she's like a medical professional, but being a parent was harder than all the schooling she went through. Which is like crazy, like mind blowing. Like, are you like, or you hear, yeah, like other people, they do like crazy accomplishments in their life. Like, I think, there's this guy who, he went to Harvard and he like served in the military in numerous, like a war, and got a certain medal. But he said, being a parent was harder than all of that. And I think with that, like, an adjustment that we needed to make was being willing to have a posture of asking for help from others. I think like a lot of times it's easy for us to not want to ask or even, like pretend everything's all right. But I think not to put up that facade. And I think also something else that we've learned, or that I've learned, is that it's okay to say no to people, or like let others people's expectations down, if that means I'm able to like prioritize my relationship with God and my time with Jen and family. Because I feel like it's very easy to just want to please people, but if I need to have those priorities straight. So I feel like those two things are like adjustments that I needed to make.
Thank you guys for answering that particular question and the call to make changes and adjustments, especially to prioritize our wives and our marriages. That never ends. As the kids get older, there's going to be new challenges, but just so grateful to be able to hear how God is already leading you guys to prioritize the important things and to make sure that your wives are taken care of and that your marriage is a high priority. So here's the last question, and this is something that we all really want to know. All of the listeners, all of the viewers, all of the people that are part of the FCBC Walnut Church family, especially because your families are going to be participating in the family dedication. How can we support and pray for your wives, for you, and for your children? And with that, I'm going to ask John Lim to begin.
Yeah. Thanks, GT, for asking. I feel like for prayer, that's something that's been in our heart. I think recently there's been a lot of loss, I think, with close friends and people that we know. And yeah, I think knowing how to come alongside them and support them during this difficult time. I feel like especially with COVID poses unique challenges. So I think prayers for that. And I think, I think for our family that I feel like sometimes it's very easy to make our kids the center of everything, but just to remember, like, we want God to be the center of our family, and then even allowing our kids to see that. I feel like a tangible way to support, I guess, especially wives or my wife when things open up. I feel like a lot of times being a mom who stays at home with kids can be really difficult throughout the week, especially if the husband is out working and stuff and it's just her with the kids. So just even someone coming by to, hang out, spend some time playing with the kids and just share life together, I think means a lot.
I'd have to say the same. Being a mom while working is a pretty tough job. It's moonlighting. And so when we do see you all at church, it's a blessing to us because we get to reconnect with you all after having a tired week at work with maybe difficult coworkers or difficult work situations, and being stuck with an infant or toddler so many hours and days. A lot of crying, it can kind of get to you. So seeing everyone, seeing other people's children, children that are a little older, seeing larger families, seeing everyone brings us a lot of joy. And so the way to support us or pray for us is to just come say hi and ask after Rebecca. I know when people are pregnant or people have just given birth or have young children, the usual question is to ask about the child and not about the mother. And I think maybe we can be asking after the mothers and seeing how they're doing. And so again, like what Jonathan was saying, a tangible way is to hang out with these moms and maybe babysit so that the moms can go do what they need to do, go do what they want to do too.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, John, Stanley. I think for us, I think I'm just going to lump my prayers, her prayers, and as a family prayer. I think two things is, first one is kind of dovetailing to what you guys were saying, is really with this quarantine life that we've been living the past 18 months, I think when it first began, I didn't really think it was going to affect me or Helen, for that matter, too much, because it's okay. We'll be inside and we'll be able to connect like this, and it's kind of going to be the same. But I think when it hit that whatever 8-9 month point, it really started to feel exhausting, and the spiritual vibrancy was like down here, and really God was telling us that I think as we prayed as a family together, I think it was just he was putting that yearning in our heart to be with you guys. And to be honest, our YMG has been great, has been fantastic on keeping it steady, keeping it consistent, and the vibrancy of the conversations. But it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same to just see each other face to face, and I love that when we met at a park. I think back in October. I think that was the first time we met in, like, I don't know, 6-7 months, and that was like, for a brief moment, for 15 minutes, we met up, and it was like, whoa, it feels like great, right? I mean, you guys remember that. I think everybody was there, or maybe I'm not sure, but you see, so long ago now that we need to do it again. But my point is really, I think prayer is, as we get out of this quarantine life, I think is really re-energizing, or really asking for wisdom to really for us to just kickstart. Hey, let's just go to church. Don't worry about anything. We're vaccinated, by the way. If you haven't been vaccinated, we get vaccinated. But we'll be okay, and stuff like that. So I think the prayer is just we miss you guys. We miss all our friends, and I think it's going to be healthy spiritually. As we move forward, or as we move back in, and I think my second prayer request is dovetailing to the first, is really just for the church to continue to point us to Christ. I think that low period of spiritual vibrancy, just needs to be redirected to Christ. Don't stay on your knees and cry about it. Get up and go. That's what Jesus wants you to do. Get up and go and follow me, right? So that action-oriented mindset or heart is what I'm praying for, and I think as I lead my family, I think that's gonna move the rest. So.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, for sharing. And I hear from each and every one of you just that desire to be that servant leader in a home, but then also one that is intentionally pursuing the family of God, growing as a child of God, and just leading your family in that same direction. So with that, I want to wrap up this episode, and thank you guys all for being guests on this special Mother's Day edition. But for all of the mothers that are out there and wives, we're just so grateful for you. A lot of times you guys are doing all of the background work, the dirty work, all the unseen and unappreciated chores and tasks, alongside just supporting many of us that kind of give you a difficult time as husbands sometimes. We're so grateful for you. And we're also so grateful for all of the spiritual moms and aunties that are in this church family, so that we can grow and nourish our own families through your support and through your care and through your prayers. So with that, I want to wish, on behalf of the men here, happy Mother's Day to all of you. And we look forward to continuing this journey with these three families here, but then also to be able to do so as the spiritual family of God. All right, goodbye, everyone.